Welcome to From the Valley podcast, Brisbane Business Life. I'm your host, Tim Wilshire, and this is episode 1 of this series. I've got a very special guest with us as our first guest, and his name is Murray Sutherland. He is the president of the Valley Chamber of Commerce. So the first podcast is I would like to find out a bit about what makes Murray tick, a bit about his history, finding out a bit about the Valley Chamber, the Valley concept. The podcast is about all of these types of things. So I think this was only fitting that we sort of start with Murray. So welcome along, Murray.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tim. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the Valley, I mean, I've been involved in the Valley Chamber of Commerce for, over 18 months. It's, to me, it is the most vibrant chamber in all of Australia. Numbers-wise, it stacks up to be like one of the biggest, do you think?
Yeah, it definitely is up there with one of the bigger chambers in Australia. So, I mean, the numbers do fluctuate a little bit from time to time, but it's definitely up there. It's a substantial amount of members in the Valley, yeah. Yeah,
definitely. So what do you think makes this particular, and we'll cut to this sort of chase, I guess, what do you think makes the chamber as successful it is? What are the features of that really attracts the membership and that type of thing?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I guess when we sat down and looked at our membership base several years ago, we wanted to make sure that our chamber, I mean, by the very nature of a title, I guess I was saying Chamber of Commerce, it can come across a bit boring and a bit of a dry topic. So we wanted to make sure that our chamber, by what we do in terms of activations and events and engagement opportunities, we're always seen to be fun, engaging, vibrant. We're making sure that we're very conscious of getting around to all of the latest businesses that are, I guess, being showcased in the Valley and the surrounding suburbs. So I guess we're active, we're really busy, and we're actually booked out with all of our major functions and events until April next year. So
that's really, really good. I mean, you certainly, from what I've seen, the executive team is a very strong executive team. They all seem to get along very well. When you look at the chamber as a whole, from what I can see, everyone seems to get along very well, and everyone seems to understand where everyone's coming from. And it's certainly, in my opinion, a very good way to network. So just on that, do you think you've always found that this is probably the number one way to network, this type of chamber and going to the events from when you started being involved in that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, some of the things that we also build into the way we view ourselves as a chamber is we have in our core values that are actually part of our strategy document the word fun. And I don't think too many chambers would probably have that type of vernacular associated with their chamber. And we also have other terms, things like high visibility. So we want to make sure that, we're a chamber, we can have fun. There is a serious side to it as well. I mean, Ultimately, it's not all about fun and games totally, but we want to be in these venues where we're having serious meet and greets with a lot of people, local business, but at the same time, it's all done in an environment, I guess, that is quite relaxed and enjoyable.
So I guess growing up, Murray, where I guess your background, where did you actually sort of grow up and come from?
Yeah, I grew up on the north side of Brisbane. So my family, we had places at Castledine and Aspley for many years. And then I eventually made my way into Tenerife, was where I sort of established myself, and I started my business in Tenerife as well.
So how long ago did you start your business in Tenerife?
I've been running my creative agency now for about 24 years. So
24 years,
basically, that's pretty much all I've ever done.
Yeah. So what's the name of the business again? It's
called Kinetic.
Kinetic, yeah. Okay.
And we're an activation agency essentially.
Yeah, you got to make sure you get the pronunciation right for that one, because you look at the way it's written and that type of thing. But very creative agency. It's always been about creative. Going back 24 years ago.
Yeah. So I'm a designer by trade. So
graphic designer.
Graphic designer by trade.
Yep.
I haven't actually done any design myself for probably 22 of those 24 years. But everything's creative at the end of the day. So for what we do, and we've evolved out of being a traditional advertising agency into what we call now an activation agency, which is where a lot of brands see the future of marketing. So the definition or the difference between the two is essentially we have creatives internally plus event management team. So activations is just another term for running major events. And activation also means about bringing brands to life. So I guess, a bit behind the word kinetic and how we got to that, kinetic is energy.
Yep.
So it's about having high energy, bringing brands to life through our activation agency.
That's certainly a long time to have your business going for. That's have you sort of been involved with any sort of mergers or acquisitions with other companies trying to sort of get involved with you, buy you out, or anything like that? Or
from time to time, I've had offers over the years for that to occur, but at
Yeah.
this point in time, I'm 43. I don't think I need to do anything too dramatic at this point in time. So,
of course.
love doing what I do, and
Yes.
and I'm still doing it, and we've got more projects there than we know what to do with. So, it's great. So, no, at this point in time, I've got no desires to sell out or do anything like
No,
that.
it's really good to see you sort of been with the same career for that amount of time. It shows that you've got a plan and it does work and that type of thing. So I guess obviously moving to the Tenerife area, when did you sort of first become involved with the Valley Chamber of Commerce? What was either a first event or thing that you sort of went to and felt and said, okay, well, this is something that I want to get into?
Yeah, I was invited to come and join the Valley Chamber of Commerce. Carol Gordon, who was one of the very original instrumental people in setting up the Valley Chamber. I think it's actually been around for about 30 years from memory, so or a bit longer. So I was invited to come along and be part of it, and ever since I joined the chamber, I've been on the board. So that's been.
So how long ago did you
roughly
join?
About 9 years ago, from
Okay.
memory. Been on the board for about 9 years, and then it's just been full steam ever since, and seen it evolve, and it's been great opportunities to really make change with the Valley Chamber as well. So we've definitely been on a big journey ourselves. So.
You've definitely been on a big journey, Murray. I mean, I can see that it's certainly a lot of hard work, especially mainly considering the size of the membership as well. I think it wouldn't be an easy thing to sort of be in charge of. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, I've been in charge of quite a few things over the years, but something of that level would certainly pose quite a few challenges. What do you think the biggest challenges are in sort of a chamber of commerce like that, sort of growing, and how do you sort of become wanting to be the president and wanting to sort of fill those shoes, and where do you see this sort of going?
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. It's difficult. I mean, we've got about 400 members. So I think the hardest part of being in this particular role is that you don't know everyone. You can't know everyone. Trying to remember people's names.
Yes.
And I guess a lot of people see you. You know who they are, but you can't remember their names. And just making sure you're not disconnected from people, I suppose.
The name badges are a good idea at those events, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah, so that's definitely one of the big challenges, but equally it's meeting new people all the time. So the trade-off of having a big number of people is it's not the same people that you're talking to every time you're at an event or a function. You do get the chance to meet new people and find out what other people do in the areas, and that side of it is really great.
So, I mean, obviously, it's a fair bit of event-focused, the Valley Chamber. What do you feel some of the better events over the last 10 years that you've attended of the Valley Chamber, be it like a meet and mingle location or a lunch or...
Yeah. So, in actual fact, probably some of the better ones I've been to have really only been in the last couple of months. I mean, we've always done, in my view, some really great events. I think looking back, we had Scott Morrison last year come up, the federal treasurer, and come in and do a one-on specific address to the Valley Chamber members at a breakfast post-budget. So for him to come and ask and request to be the only interview or only event that he addressed a group was the Valley Chamber was pretty good. Recently we did a meet and mingle at the Tivoli, which I have to say was just sensational. It was a stark contrast to Scott Morrison over here talking about budget issues in Australia, which was all very good, at Customs House, to the Tivoli that's over here that is essentially a show show hall, bar and all that type of thing, and that was brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
The Tivoli is always been to me an iconic venue. I mean, I've certainly been to quite a few events there over the years, and I'm obviously sorry that I missed that particular one because that would have been a really good one. Certainly iconic, and it's definitely, and there are a lot of the type of venues around the place that are quite iconic. So yeah, that's really good.
The other one that sort of comes to mind immediately was only this week. So we had the Valley Vision luncheon on, which was a great milestone in the Valley Chamber of Commerce journey, I suppose. We've been 2 to 3 years in planning what we see as some great big bold ideas for the Valley Vision. You've got a lot of layers of people to to work through and quite a few hurdles. So eventually we've finally got what we see to be the Valley Vision concepts. There's 5 of them, and it was a real honour to be able to be part of that presentation on Wednesday at the W Hotel. And we also had the Federal Minister for Cities, Paul Fletcher, come up and also be part of that presentation as well. So so from a real action point of view, the Valley Vision function was up there with one of the best.
Yeah, so I got quite a bit out of that lunch the other day. I mean, some of the guiding principles that they mentioned, the being a global precinct. I guess something that the Valley, a lot of people have said that probably doesn't always have is that distinctive welcome, which I think is, at least they're sort of addressing that as a key point. And I think if the Valley does have a distinctive welcome that our tourists do remember, it's going to certainly attract a lot more attention going forward. It's always had a dynamic culture, I mean, from what I've seen, and it's just the history. I mean, tell us about some of the things in the history that sort of resonate with you, I guess, of the Valley.
Historically, it's always probably had not necessarily the best of reputations, the Valley. A little bit of a seedy underground undertone type scenario. But it's got a massively deep, rich history of a lot of families. So a lot of like the Apostles family have been there, I think, for many generations, and there's a lot of groups in there that have just been really founded, I suppose, in the history of the Valley, and a lot of those families now are then starting to also reinvest and transform Valley precincts as well. So again, use the Apostles family, who've recreated Bakery Lane. They're doing California Lane at the moment, and they've got Wynn Lane. So all these.
So what's California Lane? It
hasn't been finished yet, but it's essentially going to be another little retail precinct and a laneway off McLaughlin Street there. So so that's this sort of the history, I guess, is far-reaching in various areas, and I think there was a lot of history linked in there as well when it came to the Fitzgerald inquiry many years ago, with a lot of the different players that were involved in that and all that sort of thing. But every place has history, and it all needs to be known.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the urban comfort, that's another principle I sort of saw, and obviously connecting a bit more easily with the Brisbane CBD is something that it's definitely important. I'm hoping that sort of they achieve that as well. With the Valley Vision itself, there's a website, thevalleyvision.com.au. Is there anything more about the Valley Vision, I guess, that you wanted to sort of address to the listeners of the podcast?
Yeah, I think it's important just to understand that they are concepts at this point in time as well. They're bold ideas, and they're certainly ideas that we think can all be achieved. But at this point in time, we still need to now go through the next phase of talking to various levels of government and getting more stronger collaborative approach across all of them. But there's things there like the Light Street green space that we're proposing between Mercedes-Benz dealership and the BMW dealership. That sort of stuff to me really is not that complicated to achieve, and Light Street itself is really a non-essential road access. So those types of things, it's not really requiring they're not major disruptors of what potentially is already happening in the Valley. So there's a combination there of ideas that are, what I'd say is reasonably easy to get across the line, right up to the ones near, the Story Bridge there where the Valley Fire Station is, which would be a lot more complicated in its planning and process to go forward. But we've got a good team. We've got not only our board, we've also got great consultants, and we've been working well with all the polys as well. People like Bevan Lynch, who are the direct feed all that information directly into the Lord Mayor as part of that team. We've got the right team. We just got to make it happen now.
No, it's really, really good, and I certainly look forward to seeing how everything sort of develops in the Valley, and it can only be positive things, I think, from here as far as what will transpire in the Valley. I guess with the Valley concept, there's sort of what sort of struck me is that it's sort of becoming more far-reaching. The Valley, it's not really just the suburb of the Fortitude Valley. So how do you think it's sort of reaching other areas, surrounding areas, and they all sort of meshing into the Valley? I mean, how do you sort of see that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, there's a real trend in business these days to, decentralise from the CBD. And so what you're seeing out of those trends, I guess, is a lot of these other key precincts that are popping up around the area. So, Gasworks down there at Newstead is one example.
Very
so,
good.
Fantastic place to be. So the revitalisation of those precincts are just sensational. So Gasworks is one. You've got, Bowen Hills creating, a lot more economy up there with King Street. So, and the RNA precinct, you've got Belize, which is the building up on the top of the hill, right down to the redevelopment of the RNA. Lendlease have got their own head office there as well. King Street's been revitalised.
Yeah, I really like what they've done at King Street. That's very impressive down there, and how that sort of meshes into the RNA showgrounds. It's hard to believe, but the Ecker's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, it's not far away at all.
It's quite crazy to think about. Do you yourself go to the Ecker? Do you get involved in that at all?
Oh, I do, but I'd probably be honest, if I could avoid it, I will. Depends with how hard the kids push. But I normally will go to a couple of functions there each year, depending on what I'm involved in. But it's not far away at all.
Yeah, it's very close. I guess talking about upcoming events, I'd like to sort of hear about what you said. You sort of got events really booked till March next year. I'd like to sort of, I guess, get our listeners a bit of an idea of what's actually coming up when it comes to the Valley Chamber of Commerce. What events have we got coming up with the meet and mingles, lunches, breakfasts, whether there's a fair or whether, a
couple of the major highlights. We're going to be doing a joint venture event with the Business Council of Australia, and that's a real honour to work with them, because getting the Business Council of Australia to come to Brisbane is a rarity, and for them to also then want to link up again with the Valley Chamber of Commerce is a real privilege for us. So that's in the planning. That will be roughly around the back end of September, which the dates are still being worked out at this point in time, so that'll be a really good one. And they essentially represent business in the whole of Australia. So stay tuned, there'll be some details on that. Probably one of the other bigger concepts that's coming up, which is something that I've been working on and pushing hard for probably 3 years now, and it kind of overlaps a little bit into my own professional life, is that the Valley Chamber have always done business expos. So in reality, they probably haven't been any different to any other expo. There's trestle tables, and it's in the foyer of a hotel or something like that.
So what do you think? What's going to be different?
So the big push this year is that it's going to be now known as the Valley Chamber Business Festival. So there's massive trends out there with street festivals and events like that, and we run a lot of those professionally ourselves.
So with that particular festival, what sort of dates are they?
It will be Friday the 21st of September. So, and that will be us shutting down the whole of King Street. We've partnered with Lendlease on that particular project as well.
That sounds like a big deal, that one.
It's going to be fantastic. So, we'll have exhibitor space all up the areas of King Street. We'll have some pop-up bars. We'll have, great food and all that type of thing as part of it. We're going to set it up with some forums. So, we'll bring in external staging. We'll have a panel discussion up there of business experts. Business experts, and where people can come along and put questions to the panel. We'll potentially do things like it's going to be great. We're going to potentially do a little Spruikers mini stage as well, so give people might be a minute to get up there and pitch your business type scenario. So a bit of speed pitching and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then we'll have live music, and you can walk around the precinct and do some business and have a glass of wine while you're doing it. So it's a bit of. That
sounds like something certainly to look forward to. What about have you booked anything? Or any ideas what you're doing for the Christmas party this year? Is it?
I haven't thought that far ahead yet. I'm sure there's probably some ideas there that are already being talked about with our events team, but off the top of my head, I can't remember where it is. So
no, it's okay.
But the Christmas one is always a big one. So. Another one that's special that's coming up as well, which is just being locked down, is we've partnered with Big Sound and Q Music.
Yeah, so Big Sound, I think it's the first week of September.
Yep.
So tell me about the partnership with Big Sound. I mean, I went to Big Sound last year when the acts were really quite good, and you didn't probably know so much about who they were last year, but now you're hearing those same acts a lot more. So tell us about the partnership with Big Sound.
Yeah, so the partnership essentially is with Q Music, Queensland Music, and then they are the owners and the managers of Big Sound. So it's got a great reputation. The guys there do a fantastic job. So they've come to the chamber and said, well, we'd like to do a JV I guess, a bit of a launch event for Big Sound, where they've actually booked out the sea deck on the river there now. So
this is the sea deck, yes. Okay.
yeah, the sea deck. So we're going to do a specific Valley Chamber of Commerce event on the sea deck in partnership with Q Music and Big Sound. And what it is, it's promoting women in music.
Is that sort of like a during the week function of the Big Sound?
Dates are still being finalised, but I believe it's actually probably a Sunday. Is the plan. So, so that's going to be really exciting.
Very exciting, definitely. So, I like going back to the membership a little bit. Certainly like the diversity of all the different types of members there are in the Valley Chamber of Commerce. You certainly got your lawyers. You got your obviously accountants like myself. A lot of marketing people, creative people, but also like the fact that not-for-profits join as well. I think that's really good. That Young Care and leukemia, and I think I saw that the Fortitude Valley Rotary Club are now a member. So there's lots of different support there, just from not-for-profits as well. Just really, really inclusive of everybody, isn't it? The
Absolutely.
chamber.
Yeah, we all consider them all as being business entities, I guess, at the end of the day. So, we encourage more the merrier. So we got other brands there like YMCA, which is a global brand and very active here in Brisbane. And I guess the list is quite extensive in terms of not-for-profits. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see if there's anything else there that. I guess who do you think it would be some of the good the guests that would be suited to coming on a podcast like this to find out a bit about their background and obviously the people that that would sort of be interesting to find out a bit more about as well.
It's a good question off the top of my head. Look, no doubt there'd be lots of people that would be interesting to talk to. I think you need to find the people that probably have got some interesting stories to tell. It's good
storytellers.
That sort of thing, and people. And there's quite a few people that are have some great stories in the Valley Chamber, but I'd have to go through and have a bit further look, I suppose.
That's okay. So, and I guess your future plans, Murray. I mean, how long do you reckon you'll be the president of the Valley Chamber of Commerce? Do you have sort of a succession plan in your own mind, or?
I'll do it until someone doesn't want me to do it. I'm not really sure. I haven't thought about it, to be honest. So, we're on a mission at the moment. So,
it's certainly on a roll.
In terms of we talked a lot about our events, but at the back end of this year as well, we're about to go through a bit of a brand refresh with the Valley Chamber. So we've got new websites launching, and
so that's in a couple of months, isn't it? The next.
Correct.
So I look forward to seeing the website. I mean, the website's, I think it works okay, but like everything, it does need a refresh, and that's certainly a good opportune time to really do that, I think.
So the plan is to basically launch all of that just prior to the business festival in September as well. So. So there's some exciting things going on in that space, and I guess while I've got a great board as well supporting me in doing all of these things.
You've got some really good corporate sponsors too, obviously get named at all the particular events. They've been around for a while as big supporters too. The ones like HBLB Man Judd and HSBC Bank come to mind. Do you find it refreshing to get a few new large sponsors from time to time as well? I mean, Wealth are fairly new, and maybe they're fairly new as well. And Style Magazine, I can't remember if they are or not.
They're not at this point in time, but look, it's always great. I mean, we have no hassle or no issue getting sponsors to come on board. I mean, high visibility in a chamber. It gets a lot of media coverage. It gets a lot of, gets noticed by a lot of people. So from that point of view, it's a very attractive package for major sponsors to come on board. But, we've had big brands, we've had small brands. We've got, previously we've had brands like News Corp being a sponsor. We've had Spices Retreats become a corporate sponsor. Style Magazine had been a sponsor. They're all great brands that sort of surround the chamber, and we deliberately only cap our sponsors, our corporate sponsors, at 5. So we could probably double that if we wanted to, but it's more.
But you've got to give them enough exposure at the end of the day, don't you? You've got to. That's the reason you say 5 or 6, and that's that gives them enough corporate exposure. But maybe so that's. But they're the ones that have been there, and they've probably been there a long time. Some of those, I'm guessing. But HSBC with Amanda Cooper have been there a long time as well. HLB Man Judd have been there for quite some time now. They're all good brands. But I'd certainly like to thank you for sort of supporting the new membership that do come in there. I mean, I felt fairly welcome, even though the business sort of is done a little bit of away from the valley up here in Kedron. I mean, I love getting obviously involved in the valley, and you join a chamber for a reason, and the reason is the vibrancy, the type of people sort of you mesh with a lot better. So welcoming those new members is very important. And if someone like myself came up to you a few months back and asked a request, got a charity golf day coming up, and you said, no worries, we'll support that as far as we'll let a lot of our members know. So it's really good that you sort of help the members that way, and very refreshing. I guess finishing up with this podcast, is there any sort of anything else you wanted to say, or any other questions you wanted to ask me, or is there sort of anything you felt like you'd like to say?
Yeah, I know. I'd say I'm very happy and very proud to be part of the Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I think we're very lucky that we're probably involved in one of the most dynamic regions, if not Brisbane, Queensland, in Australia. It's got huge growth opportunities. There's lots happening right now, and there's a lot more potentially happening in the future. So, whilst I'm happy to be there and being part of the Valley Chamber of Commerce, it's actually a very exciting time to be involved. So, whilst it is exciting, I'm happy to stay there. So, yeah. Yeah,
definitely. And obviously you've got very, lots of commitments and stuff. I mean, how do you sort of manage your time? Being, time management must be something that you've got down to a fine art, really, I guess.
Yeah, mostly. I mean, it's like, if you look at my diary, it's like a chessboard. And you have to keep shuffling things around all the time. So, look, it's, busy week like a lot of people do, but I mean, I probably spend, I would say a third of my time on Valley Chamber of Commerce work.
Yes.
But long hours, you just got to keep going, and that's how you build a lot of connections in the area as well. So, but yeah, it's always a bit of a juggle, but managed to get there at some point.
No, very well connected, and I'm very proud to, and thank you very much for being the first guest on the From the Valley podcast, Brisbane Business Live. It's been a pleasure having a chat over the last half an hour, and can't wait to get this up and uploaded so we can get some bit more traction. Thank you very much, Murray, and I think I might leave it at that.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Thank you.